With the market selling off over the past week, a select few altcoins and narratives are outperforming everything, and those are the ones we want to pay attention to. One altcoin just did a 20x in the past day and still has a lot of room to grow. This is your Altcoin Buzz News. Hey, what's up everyone? My name is Cody, and if you're new here, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you know when I drop latest content. Follow us on Twitter, Altcoin Buzz IO, and as always, is not financial advice, and wish the best of luck in your crypto ventures. Also, make sure to join us for our X Spaces Tuesday to Friday at 9 a.m. EST, link down below. Alright, good morning guys. So yesterday we were saying it looks like Bitcoin did want to go lower and most likely take out stops below $109,000, which is done now. And I do still think we go a little bit lower and we probably take out stops below here around $107,000 because very rarely do we bottom before taking out stops at the lows before we continue to new all-time highs. So I do think that is the more likely case right now. Is I don't think we stop right here at 109.5. I think we most likely come down here towards $107,000 at the very least and take out these stops before potentially coming higher. I do think the bottom is near, but I will say I don't think it ends just right here. We still have to wait for New York Open. But a lot of times what happens is we take out the stops before ultimately heading higher. You can see here, you can see it here before back in June when we were at about $98,000. We took out all the stops below here before ultimately that leg took us up higher. Same thing happened back here in around April of this year. We had all these stops below here. Around the third-ish time we came down and took out the stops before continuing higher. It usually is the way where we take out the stops at the lows before ultimately resolving higher. And so this could be 1, 2, 3 times we come down and potentially, hopefully, head higher into Q4. I think that is the most likely scenario right now, so I am waiting and positioning for that. And I think that's what happens most likely at either New York Open today or over the weekend, over an illiquid weekend this weekend. I think that's probably what's going to play out. We also just had a core PCE price index come in this morning at 8:30 and pretty much came in right at target. 0.2 is what we were expecting. The previous was 0.3, so more macro data. The bigger thing is that Q3 ends this Friday, which is going on right now, and we have $22 trillion worth of Bitcoin and Ethereum options expire. Now, it doesn't mean that's being market sold or anything like that, but the price of Bitcoin and Ethereum is highly volatile and being manipulated going into the options expiry, which happens today at 4 p.m. EST, depending on which exchange you're on. On the CME, it's around 4 p.m. EST. On Deribit, it was this morning at 4 a.m. But the point is a lot of options are expiring today, which leads to a lot of price manipulation in one way or another, trying to get people's prices in their favor. Then we also have $325 million in longs were liquidated in just an hour yesterday. A lot of brutal flushes, but also at the same time, we have the US M2 money hit a new all-time high of $2.2 trillion, and Bitcoin is next. So a lot of money is being printed in the world, and a lot of money is going to be flowing into Bitcoin, hopefully in Q4, which we still do believe. So we have to ultimately shake out the weekends before going higher in Q4, because Q4 and really Q1 are the most bullish quarters of the year. So really most of Bitcoin's gains happen in about a 6-month period between October to March is the whole, most of Bitcoin's gains. And then after from Q2 and Q3, we kind of just go sideways. And so everyone is expecting us to go up in Q4. But because of that, we are kind of flushing out a lot of late longs right now. And unfortunately, that is the case. But then moving on, we have Aster Whales buy 118.25 million in Aster. 2 whales just scooped up 118 million Aster, worth $270 million worth, equal to 7.13% of circulating supply. Meanwhile, 15 wallets are likely owned by one whale. That one whale is most likely CZ. We also have this whale just bought $55 million of Aster, $115 million worth over the past 2 days. So while Aster is kind of in this accumulation range right now, whales are accumulating. We also have Trust Wallet partners with Aster to launch perps trading up to 100x leverage. And we also have Aster who launched Plasma yesterday, XPL, which we'll get to in a minute. But they said compensation for the XPL perp incident has now been fully distributed. All affected users have received reimbursement directly in USDT to their accounts. We appreciate your patience. So essentially what happened yesterday, there was an abnormal price movement on the XPL perpetual trading pair, but rest assured all user funds are safe. We're conducting a full review. So essentially what happened is yesterday when XPL Plasma's token went from pre-launch to actual launch, something happened with the funding rate, and then a lot of people got liquidated, and they are refunding a lot of people, which is good on them. And then we also have Micro, who says Aster is literally on-chain Binance. I don't think people fully understand this yet. Same people behind it, same code base, same everything. And it's already doing 35% of Binance's entire volume while having a 40x smaller market cap. You didn't miss Aster. This is just a start. Binance will control the DEX market as well as they do the centralized exchange market now. This is a 100% planned attack and is working incredibly well. Binance is too big to fail. You can hate the monopoly all you want, but better to at least profit from it than just watching it happen from the sidelines. Aster will go way higher. I do agree. We also have Stacy who says, to be honest, I also suspect Aster is being heavily manipulated or wash traded. Volume surged 12.7x from 225 million to 2.86 billion. Open interest skyrocketed 33,500%. And on September 20th, there was a critical inflection point with a 207% single day volume jump, sustained artificial levels above $2 billion daily, while Hyperliquid remains stable. This is at least strange. And so the point she's trying to make is that there's a lot of wash trading or manipulation, which is most likely correct, but that's the point. That's why you want to be an Aster. We know what the Binance cartel will do to different coins, and especially their own coin. And so you want to be in the coins that are going to have the most crime behind them. You want to be in the ones that they're going to manipulate. The richest, the richest exchanges, the richest founders are behind. You want to be in those coins. So I see a lot of people who are hyper liquid maxis who are, not even bothering to trade this. And I think that's kind of a short-sighted view because it's most likely going to have a Hyperliquid-esque airdrop, and they're going to try and take over Hyperliquid. So why would you not want to be in the coins that have the most crime going on behind them to pump the prices higher? But what I will say is I think they're doing it very smart. They're not doing it like MYX, the chart that just went vertical for a while. They're doing it in a slow, sustained way, and so that the price isn't going up too fast in order to give a lot of people unrealized profits too fast. And I think we are doing this really, in a slow, controlled way, which is actually much better for a long-term price for Aster. And so I actually really like right here. We're coming down, we're forming this basing area. And so what you like to see is when we pump up like this, you like to see it come down, and then eventually the slowdown stops and it starts to go sideways. And that's what I think we're doing right now. We're forming this kind of basing again, like we did when we were back here around $1.30-ish. We're forming this basing, this cupping before we continue back higher. And so I think we are doing that over Aster. I think maybe over the coming weekend, as maybe Bitcoin wants to head a little bit lower, I think it's possible we do something like this where we kind of go down, we maybe take out some stops below here, and then continue upwards, kind of like this. And I think we kind of base around this 160 to around 175-ish area before continuing higher. And I do think once Bitcoin wants to finally stop selling off, because it's selling off so much, once it stops finally selling off, I think it will give the strongest winners, which we're going to talk about Plasma and also Aster. I think it'll give these strongest narratives the room and the space to actually go and continue much higher, because these are the chosen narratives, at least right now. So I do like Aster here. I think it's probably a good area. It's a big accumulation area. A lot of whales obviously are clearly accumulating around these areas. And I think we'll probably see this big cupping where we'll go sideways for a while and then we'll continue higher again, just like we did right here just earlier this week. And a quick shout out to Surge. It's this risk-free prediction game on Telegram where you just swipe to guess pump or dump, earn rewards, and pick up some market skills while you're at it. They've also just kicked off a weekly giveaway. It's super simple. Every week there's a coin of the week, and this week it's BNB. All you have to do is swipe to find it on the Surge app, screenshot it, and drop it under their tweet. One random reply wins $50 in USDT, so it's super easy. So check out Surge, have some fun swiping, and maybe snag some prizes along the way. And then moving on, we have Say, who says Apollo, one of the world's leading asset managers with $840 billion in assets under management, is live on Say. Their $1.2 billion diversified credit fund, ACRED, launches on Say via Securitize, the industry-leading tokenized provider behind BlackRock, KKR, and more. RWAs move faster on Say. We also have Moonking, who says Say keeps getting new benchmarks, with activity and transaction counts climbing higher across every time frame. The momentum shows Say Network is positioning itself as a settlement layer global markets can rely on. It's becoming clear why more eyes are turning to Say every day. And also, Mark says Say added $20 billion in cumulative trading volume in the past 90 days. And Not Telling says Say's chart looks beautiful even in this down market. It continues to hold up and creates higher lows. I legit can't get a real dip below my entry of 26 cents, but it makes sense. They've been executing extremely well, with recently passing base as a top EVM chain by a user active wallets. I can't decide if I should wait for a dip or just load up more here, because I have the feeling this breakout is coming soon. The sayings are right, the markets move faster on Say. So you can see our top EVM chains by unique active wallets in the last 30 days. And we have Say with just under 16 million unique active wallets, just in front of base now with a 9.86 million. And then moving on, we have Avalanche, who says Avalanche is adding a $316 billion giant to its institutional ecosystem. Mirae Asset Global Investments, one of Asia's largest asset managers, signed an MOU with Ava Labs at KBW, which is Korean Blockchain Week, to pioneer fund tokenization and on-chain fund operations. So Korea's largest multinational asset manager is now joining Avalanche. We also have Luna, who says a big Avax news out of Korea. Mirae's Global Investments, a $300 billion asset management, just signed an agreement with Ava Labs to tokenize fund products on Avalanche. Targeting US and HK markets, pilot for on-chain management and settlement, and global institutional ecosystem integration. We also have Joey sharing that daily DEX volume on Avalanche just hit $1.19 billion, an all-time high, and this beat previous records of $1.17 billion that was set back in May of 2022. Avalanche is also flipped hyperliquid in daily DEX volume. Liquidity is flowing, and DeFi on Avalanche is stronger than ever. This is what we were exactly, waiting for. This happened. We came out, we took out stops above $35. We thought this inefficiency would get filled in pretty quickly, which it did. What we really want to see for Avalanche is holding around $26.50. We want to see it hold this area. Maybe it can dip down below a little bit, but we really want to see this area hold as support. If it doesn't, if it starts closing multiple daily candles back below here, it'll kind of accept back into this previous range, which is not what we want to see, because we don't want to see it come down here and then accept back into this range and then start chopping back into this range, because then this will look like a deviation above and we're back into this multi-month range between around $16 and around $26. So we don't want to fall back into this range for too long. We don't want to see multiple daily candle closes below there. So we really need to hold this level of support around $26.50. And that's what we'll be looking for over the coming days, especially as Bitcoin hopefully finds a bottom in the next day or two. And then moving on to the biggest narrative of the day, we have Plasma or XPL. And so Blockchain Bob says, in case you're wondering why XPL is everywhere right now, it's the native token of the Plasma blockchain, which is the stablecoin chain. Their biggest selling point is gasless USDT transfers, literally zero fees to send or receive stablecoins. A couple of things that sent it viral: launched on a bloody Thursday, which was yesterday when we were selling off, in the middle of a red market. They airdropped 10% of the supply, now worth at $1.2 billion. Every depositor got a flat 10K allocation. Yep, $10 turned into 10K, but that's if you could get an allocation. It broke the Aster exchange on day one, which we just talked about, where the funding rates got messed up as they were transferring it from pre-market to actual market. And apparently it retired a few Discord mods. Kobe's been pushing it, and pre-sellers are now sitting on 200x plus gains right now. So it launched around 5 cents and it's now sitting above $1.20-ish right now. Crazy run so far. What's your take on XPL? We also have a Duo9 who says, I watched the XPL public sale live and didn't ape. You had about 2 minutes. Anyone that managed to get in with $1 got 10K back. The rest got a 20x on their money. I think 10K to 200K. Plasma was one of the best launches this year. This is the first stablecoin chain to go live with a monster tether behind it. Aave already has $3 billion on Plasma in less than 24 hours. They'll also add delta neutral basis trade soon, and the stablecoin chain FOMO is real. It'll be huge. So Plasma had a huge launch yesterday. With Mixed Sleuth, who also adds, I think most people are valuing it incorrectly, and it should be valued as a layer 1, which it is, instead of some stablecoin protocol project. It's the most attractive layer 1 for stablecoin farming. The gas token is XPL, and the fact that you can transfer USDT for free on this network gives Plasma a comparison to TRX. As from my understanding, the primary use case of the Tron network is to transfer stablecoins, specifically USDT. Of course, Tron has better mindshare and has been around for a very long time, but I think Paolo and the Tether team have enough distribution channels to compete. Purely comparison numbers, XPL is $2 billion here versus Tron's a $30 billion market cap. I also think Plasma Network will be a favorable place for trenching. It's fast, cheap, and the access of stablecoins on the chain provide liquidity for these coins to run. Right now, there isn't much on this besides meme coins, but I think once a proper DEX is usable on the network, we can see some cool projects being launched there. If people are using Plasma to launch projects, it also validates the idea that it should be valued as a layer 1. It'll be ideal if the Plasma team are able to support these projects that launch on the network as well. And a whale spent $571,000 to join the XPL public sale, buying just about $11.8 million at 5 cents, and currently his profit has exceeded $11 million, a massive 19x return. Now, XPL is one of the ones that is taking up mindshare along with Aster, and this is the huge pump we had afterwards. So pre-sale was down, you can't even see it on this chart, but it was down around 5 cents. We're now sitting at around $1.15. A lot of people are up a lot of profit. A lot of people are up a lot of money right now on this coin, as you can see with the profit-taking wicks here on the 4-hour chart. So this isn't one that I'm going to be getting in right now. A lot of people, I think, are going to continue to sell off. I think Bitcoin continues to sell off, and I think XPL also kind of sells off with it, but I think it's stronger than most. So what I'll be looking for is most likely a sell-off down towards the psychological $1 mark. Maybe we come a little lower towards 95, but I think we most likely hold around here. And if this is going to continue to be a strong coin, we don't want to see it retrace this entire move. We don't want to see it come back down towards 68 cents and retrace this entire kind of up move here. So anything below here is just really bad. You don't want to see that happen. But I think what most likely will happen is it'll come down here. Maybe at the lowest, we'll kind of do something like this. We'll tap this. If Bitcoin sells off, we'll tap this and continue higher. But I think most likely you'll see something around the $1 to $1.05 mark if Bitcoin wants to sell off. I think we'll most likely do what Aster kind of did, was maybe we form this kind of cupping motion or like this, and then we'll continue higher over the coming days, especially once Bitcoin does break out I like XPL, but I do think a lot of people are sitting on a lot of unrealized profits right now, and so this is not where I'd be jumping into this right now. I could be wrong, but I think after this huge pump up yesterday, a lot of people made a lot of money on this, and they're I think a lot of people are looking to take profits, especially with how the rest of the market has been. So any kind of wins, I think people will be looking to sell off. So I'm waiting on this one right now, especially with the New York market coming soon. I do think Bitcoin goes lower. I think this will probably continue a little bit lower as well. But that's the video for today, guys. I think I don't think this is where Bitcoin bottoms. It would be very strange to me if we just bottomed right here and went on to continue to make new highs. It is possible we could do something like this and then continue lower like that and then eventually take these out. But I don't think this is where we just go straight up to new highs from here. So I will be watching for this. I will be watching for stops to be taken around $107,000, kind of like this right here, where we come down and then eventually that is the bottom that marks it and is able to take us back to new highs for what we all believe is going to be a bullish Q4. But unfortunately, we have to shake out the weak hands first before we continue up to new all-time highs. So that is the video for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Also, make sure to check out this video right here on the one exchange you need for 2025. And I'll see you guys on Monday.